Cops can be a lot like those fishermen you see on TV shows. You know, the guy sitting in his boat telling you all about the great times he has had at this lake while he sorts through all of his bait and lures, trying to figure out the best one to use for that particular scenario. The difference between the cop and the fisherman, though, is that the fisherman has to figure out which exact lure or bait will work that day given all of the circumstances. The cop, on the other hand, can make stuff up, mislead you into thinking certain things, and, well, outright lie to you, and unfortunately, most people don't know this. Now, I'm not saying this to diss the police. I have many friends currently in law enforcement or have former experience, and I have huge respect for all of those that serve and protect and put their lives on the line every day for us. But I know there are some cops out there that can take some things to the extreme. And if you do criminal defense investigations, you need to know these things to look out for while working that investigation. A cop might tell the defendant something like this: "Hey, I can't really do anything for you unless you talk to us." This very much sounds like they are tossing a life preserver, doesn't it? But here's the kicker. The more you talk to the police, the more they get to play with your words. They will often use what you're saying to lead to more questions to ask you. And if you're asking enough questions, they will eventually find some reason for probable cause to detain, search, arrest, or whatever. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Then there is the old, just swing by the station, we just want to talk trick. No big deal, right? Wrong. The minute you set foot into that station, it's more like open mic night where you are the star of the show. Except there's not going to be any clapping, just hardball questions being thrown at you at light speed. So that invite for coffee at the station, it should be a hard pass. If you go, you will most likely find yourself in an interrogation room, which is probably not what you imagined when you first heard the offer. Then there is the classic, no worries, this is off the record. Spoiler alert, there is no such thing as off the record. Anything you say will most likely be used to help their investigation and will most likely be used in the courtroom against you, even if they say, this is just between us. They might also drop the I have your back trick. Don't worry, I'll talk to the judge and I'll let him know how cooperative you've been. Sounds sweet, right? But let's think about it for a second. Is that cop really going to be your legal wingman? Is he really going to cover your six? Does he really have an in with a judge? I am here to tell you, rarely, if ever, will the police have a conversation with the judge. They will have plenty of conversations with the district attorney's office and communications with the prosecuting attorney, but they will almost never talk to the judge unless they themselves are on the stand. Here's a good one that I've seen a lot. Listen, your buddy already spilled the beans. We know it was you. But wait a second. If they know that you did it, then why are they still talking to you about it? And why have they not just arrested you? What they're really doing here is going on a fishing expedition to see who will talk first. I can almost guarantee you, whenever a cop uses this trick, they're saying the same thing to everyone else. This goes hand in hand with the we've got the whole thing figured out trick. Again, if they have it all figured out, why are they still asking questions? Why have they not read you your Miranda rights, cuffed you, and hauled you off to jail? Here's one that happens a lot on DUI stops. Just blow into this tube. Prove you're sober and we can both go home. But hang on a second. Even if you cooperate here and you take the breathalyzer test and it shows negative, that doesn't mean that you can just leave. They still pulled you over for something, didn't they? They had to have probable cause. They had to have seen you do something. Swerving, crossing the middle line. Something had to have happened to make them suspicious. And I have seen it many times where the defendant took the breathalyzer and it came up negative. And since you cooperated with the breathalyzer, you will most likely cooperate with everything else, like all of the other roadside sobriety tests. After all, he told you it showed up negative. Now all you have to do are these other things, and then you can head home. All he has to do is get you to fill one thing. That allows him to arrest you and take you in for further testing and interrogation, and the day is over for him. But you don't get to go home. You get to go to jail. You go directly to jail. You don't get to pass go. You don't get $200. You just go directly to jail. Now here is another sneaky trick that I've seen. Your prints are all over the crime scene. Really? They are? If they have that much damning evidence against you, again, why are they not arresting you? And depending on the situation, maybe your prints are all over the crime scene, but maybe there's a logical reason for that. What they really want is for you to try to defend why your prints might be there. One slip up is all it takes to give them probable cause. The old eyewitness trick is another one to watch out for. We've got someone who swears they saw you there. Again, maybe you were there, and maybe you have a logical reason for being there, but do you have to explain that to them? No, you don't. Here is an oldie but a goodie. We'll slap a warrant on you so fast your head will spin. Now before you freak out, remember this. If they truly had the evidence needed to get a warrant, they wouldn't be there playing let's make a deal with you. And then there is this one. You just flunked the lie detector. First off, if they ever ask you to take a polygraph, don't. Second, if you did cooperate and take a lie detector test, guess what? Polygraph results are usually not admissible in court. Now, what is the common theme in all of these ruses the police might use? Did you catch it? And what can you do to ensure you don't fall into any of these traps? These are all used to gather more evidence. They're all used to get a reaction, and they're used to get you to talk with them more. You see, if they arrest you, they have to read you your Miranda rights, and once they do that, well, you might then clam up and ask for an attorney. But if they just keep asking questions, well, they don't have to tell you that you have the right to remain silent, that you have the right to have an attorney present during questioning, and you can refuse to answer any questions. But the big secret is that you do still have the right to remain silent, and you should invoke that right as soon as possible. I have seen so many cases where the defendant was innocent and tried to be cooperative with the police, only to have everything they said twisted, turned, and manipulated until the cops found some reason to make the arrest. As a PI doing criminal defense work, you should look for any of these tricks as you go through the discovery. Listen to the questions asked when you review body cam video footage, dash cam video footage, or video or audio from an interview or interrogation. You should also interview the defendant and ask him to tell you what questions the police asked him. Remember, there may not be any video of that, especially if the questions were asked quickly upon first contact. And if the cops said things like, "We have an eyewitness," "Your friend told us," "Your prints are at the scene," "We have video." If there were any statements made by the police that would seem incriminating, make sure the defense counsel knows about this so they can then ask the prosecution to divulge this evidence. And they can also inquire, if the police had this much information, why was the defendant not arrested and Mirandized? I have had many cases where there were enough of these tactics used by the police that we were able to prove that the police could have used these tactics to elicit a confession or pressure the defendant into continuing to talk to the police. And that can easily lead to lower charges, plea deals, and even all charges being dropped. Remember, our job is not to prove innocence. Our job is to ensure that the defendant is treated fairly and justly.